We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and today we'll be reviewing Forrest Gump at our new series, Generational Talks. Now, today is a really great video, and I believe you guys are going to have an amazing time watching this. Anyways, let's give it back to me and my dad now.
Yeah, I mean, we can intro it in.
Or not.
Yeah, no, we can do that.
All right, well, we never even clarified. Is this going back up on TZ Productions?
Jeez, I don't know. I think we should start a different channel. Or no, we have TZ Productions.
I mean, yeah, we can
We
just
could probably
reboot.
clear out the debris that's in there, right?
I mean, if we're like publicly, yeah. I also will have to subscribe to a lot of people on there because that's the TV she's been using to watch YouTube, and TZ Productions has been under her like reign. So there's probably a lot of like. That's why when I go through there and I get a lot of crazy search recommendations. So I'm gonna have to go through and
edit it out,
wipe clean her YouTube algorithm because it's also bad. Like they will broadcast our content probably to people that maybe I hope is associated with on the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it more like, yeah, I mean, maybe it's better to start a new YouTube channel, or I don't know.
No, but I mean, we have there is like a good amount of subscribers. Like,
all right, I mean, if we're starting with subscribers and we just improve the algorithm.
Dead subscribers. There's no one there actually watching anymore. But it's still like there's reason for that as well. Like there's a small little like I don't know 7-year time lapse in our
no, not a lot of more.
With
so if you start posting constantly, it'll get more.
Yeah, I mean if you like keep putting it out there and so.
I imagine with TikTok and stuff, you can.
Yeah, I think it's just best if we stay with it. We can like revamp it and like change it, like change the style. You could change the logo. You could change all of it if you want. But I think we should use the same channel.
All right.
Sounds well, here we are, and we're talking about Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump.
And have we settled on a title?
A title for this episode?
Well, I mean, we can do it under TZ Productions, but
what, you want to revamp the title? I mean, you know what? This is going to go out to all the audience out there, anyways. This part of the first episode will be us deciding a title. We will figure out a title.
I mean, I thought it would be good to do generational something, right? Generational movies or something like that. I mean, that's kind of generic, but
yeah,
something to reflect the viewpoint of the elderly.
Well, like Gen X versus Gen Z, basically.
Yeah, or hey, we have a TZ Productions. We used to have a Gen X Z Productions, but TZ Productions, a generational perspective on movies. Now that sounds too.
That's
like to BBC.
The only way you get away with that is if you have a German sounding name for YouTube. I say that because there's a YouTube channel that publishes like very like science, like with like animation.
Yeah, I watched that.
You've seen that person, like Kirkolog. I don't even know how to say it. It's like
like Kirkolog.
Yeah, I don't know how it goes. Don't need to.
So TZ Productions and just
But the sign behind you that says Forrest Gump with like Forrest Gump, I mean, you're obviously you're there. This is where you are now. To all the fans out there who have been waiting 7 years for our return. My dad is now he's just fully embodied Forrest Gump.
I'm in Greensboro, Alabama.
Yep. And
I'm sitting in Forrest Gump's home.
Yep. And for the audience, if you look up at the top left, there's like, I guess Forrest and like a white.
I don't even know.
He's like a Severance employee. It looks more like that.
It's dead Forrest. The spiritual Forrest.
I imagine this is what like the Bubba Gump like manager's house looks like. Like the person who really likes Forrest Gump is the manager of a Bubba Gump, and then they go home and.
Just sitting there. You can do one of the I don't know. I don't know. The movie Now, I think the last time I watched the movie was what, 4 years ago, maybe at the.
You didn't watch it in preparation for this?
No. I mean, the last time I watched it before I watched it recently. Like last time I watched it, I was sitting in down by the river, at the watching the
Yeah.
VCR tape. And and my general feeling that
Well, it's also like,
Pulp Fiction should have won the best picture over Forrest Gump in general.
yeah, I know. And like, what's funny? I mentioned that I saved it for this, but in my oral interview in Espanol, I didn't know what to talk about, and then I was like we had to talk about various forms of art. So I was like, "Me gusta el arte de cine," and I had to just keep talking because it's a 10-minute conversation. I was like, "Y mi padre es muy cansado por el risotto de mejor pictura." Gun Forrest Gump. And then she replied to me and she was like, "Oh, he was very sad." I was like, "Yeah, he," and then I said in Spanish, like, "Yeah, he wanted Pulp Fiction to win." not Forrest Gump.
Well, and also it's also Zemeckis. I don't know, like Back to the Future. I could see that getting Best Picture, right?
Yeah,
Or at least having more cultural significance. I think.
Did it get Best Picture?
No.
I know it kind of tells that like I don't know what movie did. I know that Back to the Future.
Let me see real quick. What was it? That's 1985. Best Picture, 1985. It's gonna be something stupid. It's Amadeus. Which, I mean, how many times have you watched Amadeus? Like never, right?
Yeah, I've not.
It's a decent film.
I don't even know what that is, if I'm being completely honest.
It's about It's about Amadeus Mozart, Wolfgang Amadeus
Oh,
Mozart. Yeah.
okay.
Let's see. What year? I mean, Back to the Future, far better movie.
Yeah. I mean, but so I guess I should start off. If we're gonna keep doing these reviews, we should get a little bit of like a review going. Maybe like a rating.
Right. So I think I mean, first the overview. You get the perspective from two different generations, basically, right, on the movie, right, and this is actually a good one to start off with because it's actually like it's almost meta in the sense that Forrest Gump. It's like an overview of his life as it passed through the generations. It comes out when I'm roughly 20 years old, not quite 20, and then you're not quite. It actually came out like roughly the exact same.
It came out when you were exactly like my age.
Yeah, I think 1994. So yeah.
Wow. Damn. That means actually that means I'm older than you than you were when the movie came out.
Yeah, well, what, 1994, I was 19. You're 19.
Yeah, but like what date did it come out? Because that's the thing, 1994.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's 2025 now.
So also, if the audience doesn't know, we share the same birthday. So like, and also it's kind of easy to figure out dates in like my age range because you just add or subtract 30, and like you're born on like a year that ends in 5. So
yeah, July 6, 1994. So I was, and when I came out, I think I saw it twice in the movie theater. I mean, I enjoyed it back then. It was, I mean, everybody did.
I think the thing is like it's able to tug. It's like tug on the heartstrings for like a while. Like you don't want to look away from it either. Like it's one of those movies that you can kind of watch. And my monitor is beeping away as it turns off like 10 different beeps. It does that every time, but it's gone now.
All right. Well, so do your brief review of it, or what you think is the.
My brief review is.
And do you want to give it like between 1 and 10, or?
I mean, in all my cards on the table, I've watched the movie like probably at least 12 different times. I've seen it a lot. I've probably seen it more than most people have seen it. Definitely not the most. I know I haven't seen it the most. Like, Because at the Forrest Gump, like at the Bubba Gump Shrimp Factory, they have the trivia. I don't know all the trivia. Like, what is the mail address to like Forrest's mom's? Like, what is their original house address? That
Oh, I think yeah. But the thing is, I was watching a bunch of
Yeah,
weird
but you
things
know what the
in
thing is?
movie,
That
right?
was the only part it's on is like on an envelope that they slide into the mailbox once in the movie.
Well, how about this? What book does he put the white feather that he gets from the opening scene into?
I don't know. Ugly Duckling.
No, man, Curious George.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching it, like he picks up the feather and he he has this very neatly organized suitcase filled with all his artifacts from his life with the Curious George book in it. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, overall though, I would say the movie I gotta give it like at least an 8.5. I don't think honest to God I can give it like a 9 or a 10 because it doesn't even like off my first watch of it, I thought it was great. Like I guess it's easier for me to think about how my first impressions were ever. I thought it was good. Did I think it was like the best thing I ever saw? No, because I don't know. It just felt, it had. I think its biggest problem is that it comes off kind of cheesy. You know,
yeah,
like
it's definitely a shit. But I also saw where it could possibly be incredibly deep. If you like randomly pulled something out of like, hey, I want to make this a movie,
but I
screen
think
test.
yeah, but I think it's like Bubba dies. There's a traumatic scene. Bubba is dead, gone. And then within 5 minutes, he's sitting there in like his like nightgown, the ping pong champion. All of a sudden, he's just the king of ping pong.
I know.
And they ship him off to China, and he's like there and like that's like the genius of the movie because they just like give him things to do that he's just amazing at. It's like, wow, he can actually do really, really well. Like he's amazing in the army. He's an amazing runner. He's amazing ping pong player. Amazing business master, I guess, as well. Because him and
but I don't know what it means. And maybe that's the problem. I think part of it. And so you give it what you said an 8.
I give it if I can go in the decimals, I give it an 8.5.
8.5. The only reason I'd give it is like a 6.5, 7. It's because it's
that with your Forrest Gump, your Forrest Gump home. You torture yourself every day.
I come home, I look at my Forrest Gump room, I go, "Damn, this is mediocrity." It's because it's like it's somewhat derivative. It's somewhat you're sitting there, you're watching a movie where I don't know, like part of the catch was like inserting him in famous, like in what he's seeing. So he's like the inspiration for Elvis's Shake. He's the inspiration for the song Imagine. He's the inspiration for all these like things, right? I mean, he
smiley face,
the smiley face. He's the inspiration for everything, and like
he's like the embodiment of just like cause. He causes things. He causes like major events,
right? And which is actually similar to like another movie I think, which I actually haven't seen, but I'm familiar with the what it's supposed to symbolize, which is a movie called Zelig by Woody Allen, where apparently it's a guy who like sort of assumes the identity of those around him, regardless of whatever the situation might be. And to an extent, like he's there, but like it's a little different here, where he's like, I don't know. Like, see, I was thinking as I'm watching, I'm like, I don't know. Is like Forrest Gump really just like not there? Is he like a spirit creature? Like he does all these things. Like he's in all these important scenes.
Or are you saying he lacks that element of humanity?
But he's also a harbinger of like major events and inspiration things. So in some ways, he's almost like a muse, and in some ways, he shows up before the deaths of people. Like
what I had to learn recently? It's style of acting and degree of acting, like stylization. So like in any performance, you can exaggerate a type. You could like be a typecast. Like for this paper I had to write, they did the typecast for this one woman who's like the crazy woman in the town. Like she's super angry. She never relents on like being angry. She has a rivalry with this like bar woman. Like she's just a clear character that just like is just extremely upset. She never has a moment where she's like happy or like shows anything else. And the way you would describe her as you would say her like stylization is like a typecast for like a crazy woman, literally. Like that's what I said in my paper. And then I said for exaggerate.
Is this Tropic Thunder? Like,
No, this is Johnny Guitar. And then like for like the way that she played it, like the stylization, like degree, it's either underplayed or exaggerated. She could like be super crazy and like, you know, be really upset and like really play that up. Or she could be an underplayed, like that, like typecasting of like someone who's like off a little bit, but like, which means like she would control the room with her presence, but she would be quiet, which is kind of like the other character. But all that to say, Forrest Gump, the way Tom Hanks plays him, I guess he has like, he is a typecast. Like he's clearly trying to play some type, like obviously Forrest Gump's an enigma and like what it is, but also he's playing the typecast of someone who's a little slower, you know, like that's kind of like,
clearly.
yeah, like that's like kind of the purpose of the movie though. He plays someone who's a little slower, but the performance degree, like with Tropic Thunder, when he says like, you know,
Oh yeah,
guys, you know, you can't say that on here,
right.
unfortunately, but they, you know, they say that in Tropic Thunder. And the thing is, that's because he was playing an extremely exaggerated person.
Right.
Style
Go
of
Maggie.
yeah. While Forrest Gump is more of like a toned back, a little bit underplayed. And by doing that, he kind of holds on to some of that, like, I want to say humanity, but like he, like you said, where he just acts kind of like super dumb. He kind of pushes, it feels like he's pushing up the stick a little bit on like just exaggeration, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's some scenes where clearly his scenes where he's meeting presidents, and it's always quasi scatological with,
Yeah.
hey, I gotta pee, or I was shot in the buttocks.
Yeah, it's like something it's hard to pull out. I mean, the thing I think a reason that's probably a big reason why it did so well is because you don't see that really. I don't know how many other films have a like. I mean, they did a Tropic Thunder thing on it where they like made their own pretend movie with it. But,
Simple Jack.
yeah, Simple Jack. But like, and I know there was what I mean. There's like the Rayman movie, right? Where like
Yeah, it doesn't.
like just very is like extremely on the spectrum autistic.
Hot water, baby.
Well, and I think I looked this up once. There was one other movie. Are there other?
Let me think. Well, you could say an Of Mice and Men, right, with Lenny.
Yeah. Okay, Forrest Gump. Google gives me Saving Private Ryan. Shocks.
What is that? That's not even close.
Like Forrest Gump, and Google gives me like The Green Book, Pulp Fiction.
No, not the Green Book, the Green Mile.
No, this is The Green Book.
No, it's not the Green Book.
And The Green Mile, but The Green Mile would be, but that's like very. I know that's like very dramatic.
I mean, unless you think that there's, no, I don't know.
Did you see The Green Mile?
Yeah, I've seen The Green Mile.
I've never seen it, but I've literally seen the clips of like where like, you know, because like what they executed for something he didn't do, right?
It has been a while, and I never sat down and really digested it. I've seen clips of it. I know, you know, so I'm walking down the thing. It's not a Shawshank Redemption or something like. It's like between that and Shawshank Redemption, I'm watching Shawshank Redemption, so I haven't like. Even though they're actually, I think they're both originally based on Stephen King.
I feel like also Shawshank Redemption is probably a more uplifting film. Right?
Yeah.
I'm getting away and like just living on a beach somewhere. Well, I'm assuming Green Mile ends with the guy dying and probably like
but I mean, it has that spiritual overtone concept of the guy who is. So somehow, I mean, with this Forrest Gump, right? So I think Forrest Gump has this element of being, I don't know, some sort of a. I don't know. He has some sort of, because he always seems to be associated with people who end up, you know, he's always talking about some guy getting shot. But again, or maybe it's different in this sense. Like here you have this snowman, right? This every guy who's sort of not coasting his way through life. He's just living life, right?
Yeah.
He's not trying to achieve anything. And you know, to what extent, like he achieves success in a variety of different things, star football player, excellent soldier, star ping pong player, captain of industry. You know,
Yeah.
it's weird, and then you have like all these famous people who he interacts with, who apparently he inspires in his own way, and also a lot of them are assassinated. And actually,
Peter made note of that to me. He was like, my roommate Peter, he was saying like, oh, it's a little funny how every person he's meeting ends up dead.
yeah, it's weird, right? I mean, even his best friend from Vietnam, you know, and then the one guy who was supposed to die, Lieutenant Dan, he saves. Right, because all Lieutenant Dan's ancestors all died in the war, and his destiny was supposed to be die. So what is it? Does he alter the destinies of people and therefore impact life in such a way that he essentially ends up where he is? And then what about Jenny? Like, I mean, your whole you said you had some thoughts on Jenny. I was concerned because like, what is Jenny? Like Jenny, does Jenny take advantage of
Yeah,
Forrest?
Jenny is like, I think Jenny is just someone who, like, she's clearly portrayed as someone who's like extremely broken. Like I mean, they start out the film with like the whole like, oh, I don't want to talk, I don't want. She never wanted to go home to daddy, and like all like this stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's
like
not, and then she goes to her grandmother's house.
yeah,
Was
they
that
got
it? Was that any better? It was like some
they have like
trailer with
the
like this
yeah.
this incredibly overweight.
Like they have this like horrific, like, you know, the audience is like, wow, that girl's gonna have it rough, and then like, you know, they could see it, and then you see her have it rough. I think the thing that like just never made sense to me, even after rewatching it many times, giving Jenny the benefit of the doubt, like I'd say the second half of my viewings at the first, you know, I was still always a little upset about this, and I still am now. But it's when she comes back, not like the first time when they see him and then she goes off the bus. It's when she shows up and like they spend the 4th of July together and like they're on the farm and they're all having a good time. And then then right as she gets like, you know, she gets knocked up by Forrest, she leaves, raises his child for 4 years, recognizes him on the TV. People can find him. They're running with him. He's being broadcasted. She tracks him. And then finally, of course, she sent
She like me, Jenny.
like she sent the letter finally after 4 years, right? But but that's not an excuse, okay? She knew where he lived. She people can go. I guess the argument then is like they know where he lives, but also he was missing. He was running.
Right. I don't know. I mean,
Like
that whole
I
part is.
guess that part you could be like, oh, she tried to get back to him, but he was missing.
But again, he becomes like a messianic figure, even though he's not doing anything.
Yeah, but I think the best way to have done that is like, you know, when like Forrest gets that like ream of mail that like sent back to him because his letter's sitting sent to Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they had a scene where you know, like Jenny brings all her letters to Forrest and like gives them to him, like does she do that at the end? I don't think so, right? Like I couldn't reach you. Like I feel like that might be a scene actually.
I'd have to watch that again. Actually, I'd like to watch the last scene again.
And I'm not gonna
I'm wondering, like in the scene with his, you know, when he sees his kid for the first time, I'm wondering if like that Curious George book is there. I just didn't pick it up.
what I just want to know if he like said if she like handed him a ream of mail, because if she did, it would show that like she did care and did try to get, you know, him with his son. But just setting it up the way that like it comes off to me, there's no like real emphasis on that, you know?
Hey, you know, real quick.
What?
Later at the end of the film, Forrest gives this book to his son, and the feather falls out.
What does that mean? What is the Curious George book supposed to mean?
I told you in the beginning of the book movie, he opens the book and puts the feather in it.
Yeah, he's trying to be like like clearly he's supposed to be Curious George. It's much deeper than that. I think he's just supposed to be Curious George.
But isn't the feather also supposed to be? I would think it has to do with like you know,
being breezy.
Well, no. Doesn't Jenny always talk about going up to the sky or something like that? Or
yeah, I think so. I think she like prayed to like be a bird. Yeah, it's literally that. She thought she Take me.
So the white feather.
Right.
Curious.
Make me a bird. Make me fly far, far away. Make me a bird. Like,
all right. So there you go.
You get it. You want to fly away as a bird. That's not going to happen, but you got,
Honestly, you know what? I never really thought about it before. Oh yeah, there's a white feather floating around. Cool. Like now I'm like, and then I see him put it in the Curious George book, and I'm like, that's odd. Why does he carry a Curious George book? Now I realize, okay, so he gives it to the kid at the end, and the feather comes out.
Yeah.
And it's his mom.
Forrest is actually like
it's very much deeper than we ever even imagined.
All right. Well, I think.
So you're wondering whether or not Jenny brings back made an attempt to actually make contact with him after sort of stranding him.
He raised their child for until he was 5.
She abandoned him like she's abandoned by everyone else. I don't know. I mean, I guess, can he take care of the kid? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, he can take care. I think he can take care of the kid. He runs a business.
Yeah, I get it, but
Dad, you doubt him for his things, for his competence, but think about it. Like those things he did, he still did. He never can't not do the things presented to him. Like he comes off as dumb, but that's in his reality, in his world. Like call him a god, call him what you want. He can do it. There's no doubt in my mind. In Forrest Gump's world, he doesn't raise that kid in full.
Okay, so I was thinking. So they ended in 1994. Basically, you're looking at what is it? It's 30 years ago, and the movie kind of. So the movie kind of starts out in 1950s. I was thinking, do they do another Forrest Gump where you start in 1994 and you go up to 2025?
Yeah, I mean, people have talked about a Forrest. I wouldn't not be surprised at all if they just decide to make one. They say now that they wouldn't, but
would it be that interesting? I thought it was a sort of more a derivative because a lot of the things are gee whiz moments.
Rob, Zemeckis,
Zemeckis,
yeah, he himself, he won't make a Back to the Future 4 definitively because he says he doesn't like to I think he has a thing where he just doesn't pick up things again. He likes to leave things as they are. But he might do it maybe because he might kind of do what Steven Spielberg I think kind of ended up doing where he just makes whatever the hell companies give him, like Ready Player One. They'll tell him hey, you get to use every single character out there. You got to make a movie. And he kind of just.
that was modern. I guess a modern uptake on Ready Player One. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, character-wise, Forrest Gump obviously pretty.
Now,
whatever.
Who do you think you would be as a Forrest Gump character? If you had to be a Forrest Gump character at all, which Forrest Gump character you most like?
Bubba.
Are you sure? Because
I
we can figure this out together. If you give me a chance here.
Well, there's not a lot of. Oh wait. What is this?
I'm saying we can.
There's not a lot of characters.
There's plenty of characters. Look, we'll put you in and we can figure you out real quick.
All right.
Okay. What do you prefer to do on a day off? And I showed her how to swing. Enjoy some good tunes. Talk about your favorite shrimp.
Oh, you know what they're going for.
Have a few drinks with friends. Read a great novel. So what would you rather do?
It's one of the top two.
You wouldn't be playing an intense game of ping pong or talking about your favorite shrimp.
That's Bubba, right? If I want to become.
So which one?
I'll go with have a few drinks with friends.
All right. Whoa. Would you spend $25,000? How would you spend? Okay. Buy a new house, share it with all my friends, invest it into a fruit company, donate it to a noble cause, or spend it partying.
I'd probably buy a new house.
Why are these in the same category?
Yeah, I don't know. Buy a new house.
Buy a new house? Okay. Whoa.
You know my habits.
Which instrument
Harmonica.
would you rather play? Harmonica, guitar? I don't play instruments. I just listen. I just like to listen to the music. Nothing.
Well, I'd like to play the guitar if I could.
All right. So I don't. Maybe you're gonna be Jenny here, Dad. I don't know. If your best friend needed you, what would you do? You're taking a bullet for him, right?
Oh, I mean, I'd probably give him good advice.
You're not taking a bullet for him.
Yeah, I'd take a bullet.
You'll take the bullet.
Probably.
All right. We'll say you took the bullet. What's your opinion on the war? Okay, this is actually really vague because like this feels like that cabin in the woods, like you know damn well which war. What
on the war.
are we talking about Vietnam here? But why is there a photo of just
whatever happens? I don't know why that. What is it? The Serengeti War?
Yeah, it's like
Disney's Animal Kingdom War.
How would you describe your personality? Outgoing and flirtatious, quiet, hashtag struggle, hashtag struggling,
I mean,
kind of grumpy, caring and nurturing. All right, which one are you, Dad?
How would I describe it? It depends on where I'm at, what I'm doing.
I think. I think the question you really have to be asking yourself here is which one's going to make you your favorite Forrest Gump character.
So I can be outgoing, but I'm not flirtatious. I can be quiet. I'm always struggling. I can be grumpy. I can be carrying a nerd. This is more like a zodiac test. I mean, what kind of grumpy is Lieutenant Dan? Who's quiet? I mean, quiet, I guess, is Forrest Gump. Again, see, there's not that many characters that are like, marquee characters.
Forrest is quiet. I think Forrest is, I guess he would be caring. Like,
I'm going to go with caring and nurturing.
What do
I hope? I don't know. I mean, I would love to own a shrimp business.
You could be very Paul Muad'Dib and be my future's already planned out for me.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go. Fight for what I believe
in. I'm getting anxious here thinking about what you're gonna be. What's your choice of beverage? Ice cold brewski, lemonade, plain and simple water, Coca-Cola, coffee.
Well, probably Coca-Cola.
Yeah. If you could one occupation, I'm not the dumb one this time. This is just what? If you could one occupation, which would it be?
What's with the picture? Whatever.
These are people with occupations, Dad.
Isn't that the Gilmore Girls or something?
I have no idea what I'm looking at here.
I don't know.
Jack of all trades, an activist, be a good mama, own a shrimping business, carry on.
I mean, if I could pick any of those, I guess I'd own a shrimping business. That sounds cool. Sounds peaceful.
One thing you respect in the Forrest Gump. What would you wear for a night on the town? Whatever my mama picked out for me. Hippie skirt and flower power. A nice sundress.
I think I'd be wearing my shrimping shirt.
My shrimping shirt.
Why would I not be?
I guess so. I mean, I also would be wearing my shrimping shirt if, like, I own the shrimping business. It just makes sense.
I have a lot of shrimping shirts.
You're Bubba. You called it. You said it instantly. I'm Bubba.
Yeah, there you go.
You have big dreams ahead of you. You have solid best friends by your side. You're also a great friend to them. Although your dreams are very big, real life is going to hit you like a bullet. Well, that's messed up.
Some
Bubba's
dark.
dead.
Whatever. You know, it's Bubba.
I'm sure these results are very accurate. And
Yeah, you know, it was interesting. So then I thought, you know the George Wallace thing in the beginning. Well,
yeah,
they're doing the desegregation of the
yeah,
school. All
yeah.
right. So, and then George Wallace is saying, you know, because they're using federal troops to integrate the schools, and he's saying this is becoming like a dictatorship. I thought it was interesting in a weird.
No, yeah, no, yeah. That is that's usually like judicial activism. Like that's like something I've had to study up recently for my final. I was looking at this term last night, and there's judicial activism, and judicial restraint. Judicial activism, you know, they just do as their own conscience compels them to do, while judicial restraint, you know, strictly the precedent and strictly, you know, the rules, and like trying to just really rule based off previous cases, which in situations with segregation can lead to you know, just being like, well, we already ruled that, you know, this group of people can't go here, and this group of people can go there. And with the George Wallace, because that was Brown v. Board, right?
Yeah, Brown v.
Yeah,
Board.
Brown v. Board. That was actually the beginning of a challenge to, you know, Flaggy v. Ferguson. Flaggy v. Ferguson, I think. And
Yes.
where they ruled basically that they can have segregation as long as it's separate and equal. But this Brown v. Board was a challenge to that, which then had it overturned. Which technically, if you think like the way it originally started, it was kind of, you know, judicial activism in a way. But people criticize judicial activism because it can get dangerous. I mean, obviously it can. If you have a judge not listening to the law, like precedent, you know, you can get into
A
trouble.
lot of the things came out of that. What is it? The Warren Court, right? All the judicial activism that comes from there. I mean, some of the things that we take for as just given, you know, literally our given rights, like our Miranda rights, like those things come out of judicial activism, right? Like, you know, saying, hey, you can't just because police used to just torture you until you confess,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
now you could be like, hey, man, I'm not gonna, you know, you have a right to have rights now instead of just being tortured by a bunch of police officers until you confess. Although, so in this movie, you know, Forrest is named after a Ku Klux Klan leader, right? But and you start out in an age of segregation, and then it gets to 1994, which I guess you might say like, it's almost like, you know, at the tail end of like what would be considered like a segregation era. That way, if you did a new Forrest Gump movie, the Forrest Gump 2, it's like the reverse, right? They like get this nice little curve where they're slowly starting to go back to like this, gets all broad, and now it's going into like this weird, bizarre Uber. I don't even know what it is anymore. So
Yeah, with like a reversal. But I'm happy Forrest Gump touched on it. It just shows one of it's definitely, without a doubt, deserved Best Picture over Pulp Fiction. Just the way Forrest handled the situation too, picking up the notebook, walking inside, he handled it with excellence and grace. And I believe this is why it deserved Best Picture.
that's it.
Because when they like wait, what is it called? Film reader direction. This is like I'm like interlinking like all my studies because I have a film course where we learned about like how they edited him in to like, you know, the old like fat old timey stuff, because we looked at that in Citizen Kane. They like started it. They literally splice them in. Like it's very funny like how they just like they did that so early though in 1942.
Yeah, but they thought that it was amazing back when Forrest Gump came out. You know, everybody's like clapping their hands, and we're like, "Oh, this is
Yeah,
wow."
isn't that that's kind of interesting though, you know, like that, because I feel like Forrest Gump is like kind of known for that. Where like, oh, he was there with the president, like they did that in the movie, you know. It's like,
Yeah,
all the presidents. But like seeing Citizen Kane, it kind of isn't like they did that there too. But then like what 50 years later it took for them to like. For I guess I'm guaranteed it was in other movies. I'm not going to sit here and say there wasn't other movies. I'm ignorant of this, but and maybe because we're kind of in an echo chamber here, I can't personally recall another movie that did it with so much prominence and like getting people to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, Forrest Gump was really the only one that did.
And
that.
I know
I feel
for people calling bias, like, oh, I knew this, I knew that. It's like, listen, this is the Forrest Gump episode. You know, it's the only thing on my mind, and that I've just drawn this link. It's the only link I've drawn to it, like to anything I've seen. I know I haven't seen everything, but
right, and I haven't seen everything. I'm trying to think if I can think of one offhand that where people just insert them in the movies. I mean, there's recreation of scenes. I mean, there's even an homage. So I mean, you have them inserted in the movies, but then you have sort of like, kind of like an homage to like Midnight Cowboy with Dustin Hoffman and what's his name, the guy from National Treasure, the dad. Who is he?
the dad from National Treasure.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. Listen,
John.
That man has caused me anguish, and like I think he has a duplicate out there. Okay, I say this because
You might be thinking Charlton Heston.
Yeah, I get these two guys. He looks identical to someone else.
John.
His name's John Voight.
Yeah, John Voight. Yeah, he's Brad Pitt's. Oh my goodness, I'm trying.
Brad Pitt, what?
Do you know? Brad Pitt was married to the what's that? He was married to Jennifer Aniston, but he left Jennifer Aniston for
Angelina
Jolie. Angelina Jolie is the daughter of John Voight.
Really?
Yeah.
God damn, they really just.
And Angelina Jolie was married to Billy Bob Thornton at one point. And Billy Bob Thornton shares our birthday.
Really? What? Wait. Draw that connection again for me.
John Voight. So I started this with, there's a scene in Forrest Gump where they're in New York City. Lieutenant Dan and Forrest Gump are walking through the city, and they're playing "Everybody Keeps Talking at Me," and it's an homage to a scene from Midnight Cowboy where Dustin Hoffman and John Voight are the two main leading characters there. John Voight is the father of Angelina Jolie, who was married to Brad Pitt and also Billy Bob Thornton. And the only reason I came back to I was thinking of Brad Pitt was because Brad Pitt, was in the Quentin Tarantino movie, which was competing with Forrest Gump for this Best Picture thing. I mean, I think Pulp Fiction won the Palme d'Or from France.
Who shares our birthday?
Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton. Okay.
I think so. Unless, I can double check that. Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, he does.
Yeah. This is weird, but did a Quentin Tarantino movie win Best Picture ever?
As a Quentin movie, Best Picture. No, none have.
And there you go. I mean,
I feel like that's got to showcase probably some problem with their awards show.
I mean, you got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood back there. I mean, I know I got the Forrest Gump, which obviously trumps all. That's a Best Picture, but
look behind me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you got that going on. I'm telling you, the Quentin Tarantino movie should have won. What was the last? No, I guess Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was the last.
I think Shawshank Redemption was also up as well during this time. Like it was also contending.
Was it because there were a lot of good, I think Quiz Show, Shawshank Redemption, but was it?
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. They both came out in 1994. They both were competing, all three, and Forrest Gump won the.
Yeah, I mean,
What a year,
all of these.
what an Oscar season for that year with the final above the line. No one expected it. No one was like, no one would be like, putting Forrest Gump in as the winner, but.
I mean, it's a fan favorite, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, but that's the thing. I think people just thought, oh, gee, it's just,
I mean,
it's very vanilla.
yeah, I mean, it's a very good feeling. I mean, you walk away feeling a little better still, even though it's sad. Jenny dies, but also you don't. They kind of
Same thing with Pulp Fiction.
they kind of pull the they kind of pull like the sympathy from the viewer to like Jenny, but also like see her like leave him again and hate her again, and then to see her come back and like be like, oh well, she's dying in a morbid way. They set it up kind of perfectly, so when it ends, you're okay with Jenny dying, but you also feel the sadness that Forrest feels, but you also feel happy that Forrest has a son now, and he's like living this like adult life. It's like a very like it's like a way they set it up in a way that like you feel you feel kind of like mellow happy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, here's the thing. So when we watched it a couple years ago, I was really down on it. Where I just thought I had gone to that point in my life where I just thought it was absolute garbage.
Yeah, you were hating on it really heavily. I mean,
And I was like, this is just terrible. And I think maybe you ironically liked it for a while, right?
yeah, for a while. I mean, when I was watching it with my friends, I was like, "We're watching Forrest Gump," and then you were like, "Oh, that's garbage." That's the first thing you said. You said, "It's garbage."
Yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean it's garbage?" You're like, "There's nothing goes on. Like, it's just so dumb. Like, he does all this stuff. What?"
Yeah, and I still think, if I really sat down, like but I think it's a movie where you could imprint any movie theme theory,
Yeah,
concept you want onto it and like run with it for the whole time. Like I was thinking like Forrest Gump represents corporate America. You do the right thing. You don't think too much. You're just dumb. While Jenny tries to struggle against it and keeps getting beat up the whole entire time. Like in every scene, she's getting a hit or like even like, she's got a bruise on her face. She's always getting beat up, right? And she's counter-conforming. She's not going with society. So what does that mean? That means either if you conform and just shut up and be stupid and do the right thing, you'll be successful in life. And if you counter conform, you'll end up tragic and dead.
well, I feel like if you look at it too much on the nose, right? Because I could say that the exact opposite for Forrest, though, right? Because he is counter-conforming everything, all norms and expectations for him. He surpasses.
That's a good point too. He does surpass.
Like he surpasses.
Or does he surpass?
Yeah. Well, think about it. No one he's seen as dumb. One would assume during the gun assembly thing, something that I mean personally, even myself, would take me a decent amount of time to figure out and like know how to do like properly. He does it instantly. And I don't think he ever picked up a gun before necessarily. Like you don't see him do that. Of course, there's time spans that we don't see, but he perfectly assembles like this, like this like assault rifle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything physical he does well.
And then he like owning a business. Yeah, they got one good like catch from the shrimp business thing, right? During their like away time at sea, and like they made the paper. But even that, you need a lot of work to actually make a successful company post that. I feel like,
I would think so.
And of course, he has the fame already with him. Like he was known somewhat around the world, like but yeah. I mean, I think in all Forrest Gump, I watched it ironically. I used to also feel those same feelings, but I've gotten to a point for whenever it's on, I'm happy it's on because it's kind of just funny in a way to just see.
I mean, I came back to it and I mellowed out about it. Well,
Yeah,
as I was watching it this time, it's like, yeah, all right. It's not total.
Yeah, there's worse
terrible.
things out there, and you also got to think like how heavily can you sit there and hate on this guy who's just.
But I also wasn't looking. I was looking to see what else is like as just as a set piece to see exactly what's going on with this movie. And I was like trying to look at it from a different end. Like I was trying to look at it like just picking up on things and just going like, what is Forrest Gump anyway? Like what is this all about? And I still don't know. I still think for Back to the Future would have been a better Best Picture vehicle if he was to get that, to give the Best Picture award to someone.
But I feel like it's unfortunate because I don't think Robert. I'm never gonna say his last name right. Zemeckis. Okay, Robert Zemeckis. His movies, at least to me, appear at least in like terms of Forrest Gump and Back to the Future together. They kind of have like a goofy feel. I don't know.
Yeah, none of them really have. And I'm trying to think if there's real quick if he has any movies that someone would say like, "Oh wow, man, this is deep."
But that's not. I don't know why people say like that. Like, that doesn't always have to be the point of a movie, you know?
No, it doesn't. But it tends to be an Oscar thing.
Yeah. Okay, he made Castaway. So
Castaway. Oh, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I mean, that's dark.
okay, wait, no, he did win one. I guess. He made Castaway?
Yeah.
Okay, he made Castaway, so yeah, Castaway won Best Actor and Best Sound Mixing.
Do you ever watch Castaway?
No.
All right.
Is it good? Is that?
I don't know how it ages.
Are you saying we get down on the Tom Forrest train and we become a Tom Forrest film review channel?
We'll only review Tom Hanks movies. I mean, that would be.
I was saying Tom Forrest. Yeah, Tom Hanks.
Yeah, call him Tom Forrest from now on. Anybody with the last name Forrest Whitaker. We do Forrest Whitaker movies in Tom Hanks. That's all we do. We do Ghost Dog. We're doing Fast Times at Ridgemont High because Forrest Whitaker, he's in there. I
feel like that's like a fast track to like
security.
That and also to like lose your mind quickly, just like here I go watching my next Tom all the Tom Hanks movies in the world. How many movies he has? I'm trying to. Oh my god, yeah, it would take a while to watch all of his movies. Like honestly,
you'd have to start with watching Bosom Buddies.
I think he has well over at least like 40 or something.
And my guess is he never saw Bosom Buddies. I don't think Bosom Buddies would stand up nowadays.
Like, doesn't he have a movie where he literally is just like, yeah, A Man Called Otto. He's just like a sad, depressed man. Like, I heard that's like terrible.
Yeah.
Credit where credit's due to Tom Hanks as well. I can't recognize him as Forrest Gump in any other role he's in. Like, I don't like some actors you can like only pick up on them as like who they are. Like for me, like, Hans Gruber and like, stuff like that from Die Hard. I can't really pick him up as like I see him as like Snape, obviously, and I didn't even know that at first, but like now watching it, I more or less will pick up Hans Gruber than anything else. I feel like he has like one of those certain faces, but Tom Hanks, he's a voice actor in Toy Story, but I don't pick up on him being Forrest Gump at all. He's right. And did you know he plays almost every character in the Polar Express? He's the train conductor. He's the child, I think. I'm pretty sure he's the child. And also he's the hobo on the roof.
I know he's a hobo on the roof.
Yeah, and he's also like the puppet that like talks to him. He's the conductor, and I think he's the kid.
The nightmare.
Wait, is he Tom Hanks, Polar Express? Is he the kid? I saw something that told me he was the kid, and I didn't believe it. Like, how could he be why would they make him the kid? Like, that's just strange, no?
It is strange. I would like, why not? But I mean, Polar Express, that's a peculiar movie to begin with.
Okay, so he is the conductor. He is Santa Claus. He is the hobo. He is the hero boy as an adult narrator, and he is the hero's boy's father.
Okay. Well,
that makes sense, but that's still a lot of roles just for like.
Well, his brother sometimes does his speaking roles.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Adrian.
Think,
No, you can keep going. What does he do?
like in he was like he used to play Toy Story 3, man, and the video game, and he was the voice in the video game.
He was the voice for the Toy Story 3.
Woody. Yeah. I'm almost 100%
Tom
sure.
Hanks' brother?
Yeah. Toy Story 3 video game voice of Woody. Yeah, and there's a picture of him.
Bring it up on your screen share.
I'm not gonna do that. Let me see. I must never.
You got it.
Hold on. Hold on a second.
Don't be like that judge and put a cat filter on your face.
Hold on. Let's see. Boom. Boom.
Oh. Hey, look at that.
How I became a voice. There you go. And that's what he looks like. He looks like Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, he does. All right. Well, he damn.
Alrighty.
Cowards, man. Last thing I'll say is only other thing is like in all of season 3 of The Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal is he is not even present. He's just the voice.
Oh, I did not know that.
They literally never show he think he shows up in like a scene or two, but anytime you see him, most of the time with his helmet on, it's not him under there.
All right.
So
nice work if you can get it.
Yeah, but I think we've tackled Forrest Gump and all of its complexities, and
I think we were only scratching the surface.
We're on the tip of the ice. Of course, you would say that. Look where you are right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking. You know,
we even dive into what his run means. Why did he have to? And why?
We could talk about each state he's been in. Like, we could talk about the pivotal scene when he's in Vietnam, saying all the people he met are nice. Were like Cleveland's from Arkansas. Like they're all from like they're all named one thing, but they're all from a different region. And what does that mean? I don't know, but it means something. All these things mean something. But
that map behind you marks every spot that I think Forrest. I think it's supposed to be a representation of where like he was, like where he like went through when he ran.
I think so. But we'll have to pick a.
Should we announce? I mean, we don't have to, or we can. We can announce another movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
So I mean, I offered Forrest Gump at first. You could, you know. But what's coming to your mind right now as a movie?
I don't know.
I mean, at one point, I do want to do Interstellar, just because it's I could talk about that movie for a while.
I mean, we could. It's got the same situation. It's got a lot of things.
Yeah, it's got a lot. You know, I could talk about Interstellar for a while. We could watch that again, or we could do we could do literally anything.
I mean, is there anyone that you haven't seen? I mean, I know you haven't seen Memento.
We could be super meta and like watch Manos Hands of Fate without the MS3K.
Nah, it's too hard. It's too abstract. I mean, you might as well stick with movies that at least until you get to a point where you're reviewing something that's like brand new.
I mean, right? I can list some movies that are famous that I haven't seen. I haven't seen there's a lot of like melodramas that I haven't seen from the 90s, like, and like just dramas in general. Like, I think there's like one where like Jim Carrey, he's like forgetting like something about memory, and he can't like
eternal sunshine, eternal sunshine of the spotless mind.
Yeah, I've seen like ravings about that.
It's decent.
Yeah, and I haven't seen that. I haven't seen The Green Mile, as mentioned earlier. There's still some Hitchcock films I haven't seen. I mean, I haven't seen Psycho in full. The the birds. I've seen like in every film class I've taken, they talk about the birds every single time, which like I don't know why. It's just a movie about birds, but
I used to love it. Weird. I loved it as a kid.
like we tracked in my film class, we tracked frame by frame a sequence where it's supposed to show continuation editing or continuity editing, and it, like with like the girl watching the fire go to the dude who lights a cigar and then he drops it in the gasoline, and like the how like the pacing of it increases in time, like he went 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, next shot 1 2 3 4 5 6. Next shot 1 2 3 4 5, and like he kept counting down until because
it's a cool movie, but we could go with like I would say going with a Christopher Nolan movie.
Gone with the
Go with the Christopher Nolan movie next, just as a secondary sort of like pop film culture.
This will be, I think, what I want to watch that I haven't seen yet, and I think it'll be good. The Prestige, I think that's what it's called. It's about a magician.
The Christopher Nolan one.
Yeah, I haven't had the energy to watch the other one. I haven't seen Memento. I haven't had the energy to watch Memento, and I say that because aren't I supposed to like kind of piece?
So I've seen.
Like I kind of want to just watch a movie that like tells me what's going on, and I'm not there like the whole time. Like I will appreciate it when I'm finished with it. I know that, but I feel like with the Prestige or whatever, it's kind of probably a more of a direct type of, in a way, maybe.
I mean, I think it's good. I think so. There's two things to keep in mind in terms of what do people want to see. Like, Prestige is a little bit more. What do you want to say? Like, cerebral. I mean, it's cerebral, but it's not as popular as some.
Is it because like it's like kind of like, I mean, the color grading I saw looked kind of sad. It was like brown.
It has a lot of sepia toning to it.
Low key.
The thing is, if you want to get people to be watching, right, they're going to be like, if you want people to watch or pay attention to these things, like Prestige is like sort of obscure, right? It's sort of like in terms of Christopher Nolan movies, it's not one of the marquee features, right?
Yeah. I mean,
I get it. I could see.
Yeah. I was just listening on movies I haven't seen, but I agree it should be something that will draw.
I would see something big. Although I would think, it is going to be May within a couple days. Got to do Jaws.
Yeah. We'll definitely do Jaws within the month of May. I think I mean. Do you want? We could. Yeah, Jaws is a good one. But there's. I
say do one before Jaws, right? Because Jaws is Memorial Day.
Yeah. Well, then why don't do Interstellar then? If we know we're going to do Interstellar, we could just. And that one is popular. Like that is definitely a popular movie out there.
Yeah, and it's definitely popular, at least for the type of people who would be watching something like this, right?
Yeah. No,
right? You're not going for a little kid audience or something like that. But again, I mean, but that speaks to Prestige as well. But it's also not something where like I could see someone more or less going like, "Oh, hey, Interstellar," well, like that because Prestige. Yeah, I could see you get to some point because I've actually watched breakdowns of Prestige and stuff like that online. But I'm a nerd.
Well, if you want to be like super intense, we could do the 12-hour. Like I said, if you wanted to watch something, Dad, there's a 12-hour breakdown of every aspect of the Phantom Menace, from the budget design to like a history to how it was received in the public to frame by frame by frame shot and how it was crafted. Yeah, and it's 12 hours long. And the guy was like, "Yeah, I published this. I'm finally done with my 12-hour project. I love the Phantom Menace."
I did watch a little bit of the Andor. It was decent.
The second season or first season?
First season.
Yeah.
But
Andor is a great. I like Andor so far. It's pretty good.
But all right. So
I'd say we're wrapped here. We've definitely gone a little bit over an hour as well, probably.
All All right. So then, I think it might send a transcript to you automatically, but I'm not sure. I'll let you know.
All
I'll
right.
let you know if I run into any problems. Here also, I don't. Yeah. I don't know if you say the standard. If you like, subscribe, all that other fun stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, for the audience out there, we'll see how much probably me, how much I choose to let you hear everything we've talked about here. If you have heard it, congratulations. Little step into the minds of us. If you didn't hear it, it was just super secret stuff that no one will ever hear besides us. And that's just how TZ generational, whatever we are going to call this, does it. So I'd say we're finished up. Forrest Gump. If we average out our ratings, 8.5 plus what, 6, 14.5.
Like, yeah, 6.5.
So what? We're at like a 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5.
Yeah.
Mama always said I'd have a good movie. She'd said it'd be a 10 out of 10. Well, Forrest, the thing is, your movies, a 7.5.
There you go. I think that's fair.
Our full score is a 7.5. I probably will edit some of this, so I'll put this here on the screen.
All right.
Bam, 7.5. Maybe there'll be like fireworks too. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, I think that's good. This will be the first video up in a while from 30-minute gameplay videos to hour-long movie reviews. But that's just how this channel does it. We do whatever we want when we want to because we're awesome. All right. You want to say any final words?
No. I'll let you. I'll stop recording.
All right. Stop.
All right.
End film.